This podcast contains adults using adult language. You have been warned.
Hello, and welcome to yet another episode of Team X, brought to you by Eat, Drink, Roll, where we can promise you mediocre entertainment, lukewarm puns, atrocious innuendo, and technological prowess that borders on incompetence. I am your host and Dungeon Master.
Absolutely no, always on DRM or DLC.
I am your host and Dungeon Master this evening, Brian Wiggins, otherwise known as Saint Brian on the interwebs. Before we start tonight's game, you will likely notice some information in the bottom left-hand corner of the screen. This week saw the suicides of two well-known people, Kate Spade and Anthony Bourdain. And these tragic events have spawned a nationwide discussion on suicide, depression, and mental health. The information below is for the Suicide Prevention Hotline and the National Alliance on Mental Illness. These aren't just for you if you are in crisis. They also have resources available if you have a friend, a family member, a loved one, a total stranger who is struggling with mental health issues. And if you are ever in crisis, please remember this. Depression lies, you are not alone, and you are deserving of help. Please reach out to someone, anyone. If no one is around, the people who answer, if you call these numbers, can help you. So please reach out. Do not make a permanent solution to what could be a temporary problem. With all that said, I believe it is time to play some Dungeons & Dragons, so let's introduce tonight's cast. To my right...
That would be me. I have no idea why.
And that was the creepiest you could have possibly made that.
That was mwah.
Hello.
Hello,
Well, hi there.
Puts the lotion on its skin, or else.
Oh God.
It's the hose again. Yes.
Yes, we went there.
Some fava beans and a nice Chianti.
This ham-fisted segment.
Anyway, I am Bobbin Goldfish. I'm going to be playing Corbin Oakenthane, the Hill Dwarf Monk Bard, who just served a druid.
I think we need to be specific about that. You didn't serve the druid. You set the druid on fire.
Force-fed, maybe. I would like force-fed more than served.
Well, no, the term is you get served. It's a...
I know. We were going even deeper than served because it was more than just served.
Wow.
It was a potent
like
serve.
high and
All right, he bit off more than he could chew. And to my right,
am I? Yeah. Okay. I'm at Dragon #. Hashtag does all kinds of really bad things. Jen Weaver. Play a sorcerer. No.
hashtag damn it, Carl.
Hashtag
damn it, Carl. Don't throw rocks. Under me is
Phrasing.
Oh, there we go. Oh, jeez.
Oh, wait,
Can
wait,
someone
wait.
increment the
I can do it
phrasing?
now.
Phrasing count increase.
Phrasing.
Increase phrasing count.
Hi, I'm Viking Goat. After all that, I will be playing Sunic Gentle Trunk, Furbolg Nature Cleric, and to my left.
It doesn't really matter. I'm the last one. I mean, you could have said behind me in the closet, and it would have been accurate because
On a grassy knoll.
That's two more phrasings I would like to point out.
Yeah, it's fine.
I'm adding one. It's a multi-phrase.
Okay.
It was a
multi-phrase.
combo phrase.
Combo phrase.
Combo phrase. Break.
We're all in a special place
Brian
today.
is sitting there like, shut the fuck up. I want to play games.
I am Blind Cleric, also known as @Gidreese on Twitter. I play Hugon Valander, the human fighter, and also recovering all kinds of bad things. Like, he's working on it. He's trying real hard. He's being a better person.
He's trying to be
trying.
a better Hugon.
He's not doing too awesome at it, but he's trying real hard.
He's very trying.
He's very trying.
He's a try-hard, is what you're saying.
Yes, he's a try so hard.
He rides the struggle bus.
He
I
tries
do.
so hard, and he gets so far, but in the end,
Yeah, it doesn't
it
even
doesn't
matter.
even matter.
Yeah, we went there.
Yay, we went there again.
There we go. So
Alright, I think we're good for the rest of the session. I think we can just never.
I mean,
Can we get a recap?
so recap. And when we last left our heroes, the sudden onset of whatever meteorological, astrological signs that
Groundhog Day.
that signal these things. It had been declared as the Festival of Winds, which marks the coming of summer in Pinedale, and it had basically shut the town down in favor of this seasonal festival, where there were feats of strength. There was a cooking contest. And it also marked the arrival of some of the delegations that are supposed to be involved in this negotiation that Team Xenagog has been contracted to protect and oversee to ensure that everything goes smoothly. At the very end of it, one of the druids from the Emerald Enclave had requested I guess what could be called some kind of a poetry slam throwdown battle.
A bard off.
Bard off.
Sorry.
Whoa, hold on.
Bardoff.
Whoa, hold on.
Mhm.
The druid rolled up and did not anticipate what was about to occur.
No, he did
and
not.
dropped some weak ass lines, and
That had nothing to do with the fact that
and-
that the dungeon
was
master
totally
didn't actually write anything.
prepared.
And he was
Well, that's
totally
fine.
prepared for this.
I mean, the dungeon master's preparedness aside, the druid engaged in a conflict he was not prepared
he
for.
dropped bombs. He brought a knife to a gunfight.
He did.
He picked the
And
wrong
then-
dude.
Then our resident dwarf brought a howitzer to a knife fight.
So we are going to come right back to that, but I had a quick question for Hugon. When your pugilistic competition,
In which I kicked ass with a
in which
quarterstaff.
you
Yes.
did kick ass with a quarterstaff, wrapped up. What did you do after that? Like, you had decided, all right, I'm retiring on top. I beat the biggest guy
I was
here.
a little curious to see how much money I made for those guys, and seeing if they would be a little bit grateful and come off with some money.
Oh, they're absolutely willing to buy you drinks.
Good, because that's exactly what Hugon needs after a fight.
So, are you just down speaking with?
Sure it is.
You get down from your podium and you're just talking with the folks that were clapping you on the back and everything.
Yeah, and also, I mean, he'll probably just to be a bit of a smug dickball, he'll probably give tips and combat advice to the people he beat. He'll be like, your stance was a little off, et cetera, et cetera.
Well, you know what? The thing is, they're drinking it up though.
Yeah.
Because most of the people that live in Pinedale are not soldiers, or
No.
if they were, they might have been conscripted for a very brief period of time.
Mhm.
And it was more like, okay, I have to do my 2 years, and never really took the time.
Right.
They
your
did enough.
compulsories and then get out. That
They
kind of
did,
thing.
they did enough to not be jailed. For
I'm just here so I don't get fined.
Yeah, pretty
exactly.
much. That's pretty much. It's very much I'm not even supposed to be here today. So as you're
Do a handful of them have a new senpai to look up to? That you
will you be
notice?
my
Why
will
do
you
you
be my
have to
teacher?
go there?
Will you be my
No,
teacher?
No, I'm not
No,
going to teach you.
I'm gonna be your sensei.
No, don't. No, I don't want to be that either. That's weird. Stop.
You could make some money out of it.
Probably true.
Oh, he's like, no, wait a minute, hang on a second.
Well, you said the magic word is money.
He starts thinking about this, and you start thinking about, do you want to open the Valander dojo?
Damn.
You could
just
build
probably-
it on the roof of Thunnock's Bird Hospital.
And keep knocking the birdhouse.
Just keep leveling up, we
Just-
keep making it.
Rickety thing.
Bird condos.
That is.
And then on top of that, we're just gonna start building. We're gonna see,
how
at
high
some
we can get. The
at some
bar
point you're
before
gonna
it
have
collapses.
to You're gonna have to bring like some like contractors in to the inn, just to the tavern to look at the beams. Like, you know, we're gonna have to reinforce this with steel beams. You know, this is we're starting to
Yeah, that
exceed.
moment where they stand there and like, don't think I got the parts on the van.
It's like you look at you look it up and you're just like, man, this whole open concept thing just isn't gonna work. You know, we got to reinforce this and blow the budget out.
If there's like actual interest from the citizenry for that sort of service, I mean, I can't promise that I'll be around due to work, but I'll think about it.
Well, it might be a case where you want to do some market research, you know, ahead of
Right,
time.
exactly.
You know, you just don't want to jump into launching a business willy-nilly.
Also,
Yeah.
there's would this be a subsidiary of Actors Systems Incorporated?
I would have to, of course, fill out the correct forms.
Exactly. I would need to talk to our documenter, have a conversation, maybe with head office, figure out the legality.
Aviary form 1B/2.
No, see, she's absolutely right.
Wait, did Corbin have to fill out some paperwork for the bird hospital on the roof? I imagine he did.
I took care of it. Like, I've not made a big deal out of it. Like, I'm just gonna let you do your thing, man. Like,
because there's no real like exchange of currency on that one.
Well, well, in all
how it
fairness, its currency is relative.
This is
So
true.
while it may not be a gold exchange, there is a currency of a form.
For nuts.
Trust is a currency.
It is.
Information
It is the most valuable of
exchange
currencies.
is a currency.
This is true.
And unlike Thunuk, I can actually speak to the birds.
He can speak to them.
No,
I can speak to him.
He
Alright,
just can't. He just
unlike
can't hear
him, they can speak back.
them. Yeah. That.
Because your ability doesn't let them speak back to you, right, Thunuk?
Oh, it's the plants that can't speak back to me.
Oh,
The
okay.
plant-
Oh wait, no, you're right.
Like
Animals won't be able to speak back to me for another couple of levels.
Yeah.
That's
he
amazing.
He can kind of infer what they're doing, but we're not going to get like, you know, it's not a walnut situation.
No, but like with my speak with animals spell, I can actually talk to them. So
Well, every now and again there might be the need for some triage up there. You know, tell me where it hurts.
I still.
also, like, they can bring other valuable things like
Shiny bits.
poop.
Listen,
Guano is a yeah.
yeah. Anyway,
Okay.
Suffice to say, the forms were taken care
the
of.
forms were filled out. So, Hugon, as you're having, like, because you know, if you've ever done like any kind of like martial arts competition, afterwards there's like this little bit of a high, you know, and everyone's telling stories.
Right.
And so you're doing this, and you feel this tug on your pant leg, and you look down, and here you see this little girl.
I immediately attack.
Roll for initiative.
I'm kidding.
What?
I'm kidding.
No, I want to see this. I want to see
No, I don't
Hugon
know.
get his ass handed to him by a
My
child.
To be fair, I have 4 hit points left.
Where
so-
she just uppercuts you right in the
That's
taint.
true.
Right.
No,
in the taint. Like, whoa!
Discipline.
Go ahead.
So, anyways, it's this little toe-headed girl, kind of like tomboyish looking, just hair kind of almost dreaded just from playing outside as much. You can tell this is
a filthy urchin child.
but no, not like true urchin. This is just a kid that just
Urchin adjacent.
Kid that likes to play in the dirt. It's not
Yeah,
urgent.
exactly. It's the kind of kid that if they come home not dirty and with scrapes on their knees at the end of the day, they're gonna say, you know what, this was a wasted day. But you recognize her.
God, is it that family of people that apparently know me, but like I don't know?
It is.
from
You
a
remember
dream?
her from that incident back at the cabin. You remember this? Her name is Tadell Swift, and she's yanking on your pant leg, and she's just looking up at you with like these enormous blue eyes that are like even more like made to look even more blue just from like being outside and the tan and the freckles and the dirt. Just these just these eyes are popping up, and she's just beaming at you. And she says, "What's your name?"
And like I'm in the middle of a conversation.
Yeah, but it's like a 6-year-old, so
It's like what?
if 6-year-olds
They
tend
have
not to.
no filter.
Yeah, no
What?
filter, and they don't seem to understand the concept of you're already doing something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not speaking from any personal experience at
No,
all.
not at all.
None
No,
whatsoever.
Not at all.
We don't have nephews and nieces and children and cousins and what's not. But she's just looking at, I mean, and she is just grinning ear to ear, just
Yeah.
these wide eyes yanking on you. What's your name?
I'm Hugon Valander. What's your name?
Hi, Mr. Hugon. My name's Tadell. I want to do what you do. That was awesome.
I'm just picturing him kicking her.
Oh God.
He's not
I know,
that big
but I
of
can.
an asshole.
He's thinking about it.
But he might think she's a gnome, and he's
He
a
might.
whole.
And he's got this thing with gnomes.
I don't like gnomes very. No, I'm just. What?
To be fair, she is human.
Yeah. Are your parents around?
And she's like looking around and goes, somewhere.
Okay.
Can you teach me? Come on, I want to learn. That was so cool. I want to learn.
Shut
I want
up.
you to teach me. Come on, please,
quiet.
please,
And
please.
hand over
please.
face. Hand over face.
No, we don't touch.
She licks your hand. She.
And I go like, shh. Just like for 1 second.
Yeah.
Be quiet. Find your
And
parents.
she's like vibrating, like.
Find your parents. Bring them to the Nymph and Harper, and we'll discuss it.
Mm-hmm.
Go now.
Okay.
Go.
And boom, gone. I mean, she like disappears into the crowd.
Yeah, and I wipe my hand on somebody else.
Someone like pat you on the back. And you're like,
No, you just give him that. Hey, you doing?
Yeah.
Absolutely not. Like I look at my hand and be like, and just
He doesn't even care. So, we're gonna go back to where we had left off with Corbin and with Tobin.
And Dren was there, I think.
Dren was there.
Dren was there, and
So was
we were-
Thunuk.
and Thunuk was there too. Yeah, you got to see this.
because we just delivered the glowing green.
The radioactive.
Yeah,
plant.
and you
Right.
guys had won your little
Great.
competition there, and with the
Hey,
help.
it wasn't little.
You're right.
Thanks
It
to
was
Alton
it was
Brown.
epic. Thanks to
Yeah.
Alton Brown, otherwise known as Tusk, the last person that Hugon had defeated in the little pugilistic arts contest there. And you get done dropping those bars, and because you had just gotten your food from Groomsh's
Yep.
truck.
Yep.
And he just looks and he just is like, "Damn, girl."
So I'm like, that's called the first round knockout. And on this subject, I'm not playing. It's time to show with your deeds because it doesn't matter what you're seeing. And I let it sit for like 10 seconds at the end. And I like, look, fella, that wasn't directed at you. I was directed at the Emerald Enclave and this whole shit show of a situation that's going on around in the Chomblewood. I'm fed up to the fucking hind teeth of it. I can't find these fucking druids. But you're here, and you can take a message for me. El Boulder is about to explode. This place, it needs its trade. And you're all in a position to help people. It's time you start doing it.
And he gets a look of confusion on his face, and he says, I don't seem to remember that us ever putting an embargo on El Boulder. We haven't, no one from the Enclave has been near El Boulder for quite some time. I don't.
Now, just with the DM for a second.
Yes. While he's looking that up, I did grab a D20 just because I was worried what Hugon was going to do to the kid.
Now, if I remember rightly,
Yes.
it was the sheriff in El Boulder that told us what was going on.
He did,
That's
and that
Mhm.
was what he conveyed to you.
Because, so I'll look at the druid and I'll say, so the authorities in El Boulder seem to be under the impression that you, as the druids, have laid the smackdown upon them for logging too hard, rather than taking the time to educate them on renewable energy sources and or replanting trees, etc.
Yeah, as you're saying this, this tall elf kind of melts out of the crowd and behind and steps in behind Tobin. And she is dressed very, very similar garb as far as like, the all natural, it's kind of like patched together clothing, the hide armor, sticks kind of in the hair type situation, leaves very, and she says, "My husband speaks the truth, dwarf.
I didn't say otherwise.
We haven't been near Elboulder in quite some time."
So maybe it's time to go.
What is it that they're saying that we did?
That you, the Emerald, now you as in the Emerald Enclave, obviously, as there seems to be, that sanctions were taken against them by sabotaging their equipment and forcing their workers away from the logging camps in the ways that only druids could, to force them to stop doing what they've done. So either you didn't know of the actions of part of your enclave, or they have misinterpreted who directed this action towards them, in which case it may serve you to go to El Boulder and clean up a bit of this misunderstanding.
And Tobin says, "Yes, when we're concluded here," he looks at his wife, and you can see there's kind of like that
Unspoken sort
that
of.
yeah, when you get that sort of body language shorthand
Mhm.
with your significant other, um, where
Can I
so
roll
if you
an
remember,
insight check?
yeah, absolutely. So if you remember, like in How You Met Your Mother, whenever like,
I don't remember that because I don't.
oh well, there's times where like they would have like these completely psychic conversations just with eye contact.
Well, I
It's
rolled a
sort of-
21.
So, so what is it that you were? What kind of insight were you looking for? Like,
Just
what do
trying to understand what they were saying to each other.
that would be, you could see. It's very difficult to interpret that that kind of communication that between a husband and wife. What you can pick up is that they are genuine in their
Confusion.
Yes, that so you're not picking up any deception whatsoever. But yeah, to determine like that's kind of like that's such an intimate language that it would be really difficult outside of using like some kind of psychic talent to interpret. But he like glances back there and he says, "Yes, I." Tobin says, "Yes, when we're concluded here, I think that will have to be our next stop. We have to. The people of Elboulder have always been responsible with their practices. Whenever they've gotten too overzealous, or if they've needed to draw back their harvesting, they've been fine with doing that, and we've attempted to teach them."
Now, I remember Tobin's name.
Tobin's
I have the wife's name somewhere.
Illarana Dragonleaf.
Ilorana. Okay.
Yes. And Tobin, and then the other one is Tobin Dragonleaf Alkai.
And then Ilyrana for Ilrana.
Yeah. So I turned to Ilrana and in Elven,
Mm-hmm.
I say I meant no disrespect. However, my compatriots and I on our last travel through the Chonderwood noticed that you may have a knoll problem. Perhaps they could be responsible for the interference with Elbolder. And I didn't do that in accent because I'm speaking in Elvish.
No, I understand. Yeah, which I don't even know what that accent would be.
Probably
Irish.
Welsh.
Welsh.
Probably Welsh.
Welsh, Irish.
I notice you have a knoll infestation there, boyo.
Boyo. Hey, boyo.
Hi, there's something dark in the woods.
Oh,
She
Jesus.
answers back.
Okay, that's enough of that.
What was that Sean Connery movie that was Disney made?
I don't know. I think it's better to not discuss it.
Someone in the Little People?
Dragonheart?
Oh, Darby O'Gill and the Little People.
Yeah.
Oh, there's also the bit in Highlander where Colin McLeod, who was being played by a Belgian, is like, I'm from Scotland, and Sean Connery, who's playing a Spanishman, goes, Scotland? I've never heard of this land.
Haggis sounds revolting.
God damn it.
But she answers you back in Elvish, saying, "Yes, there's strange things lurk in the wood now. We've seen an uptick in activity. We've had null packs before, but this one's behaving stranger than ones we've previously encountered."
I will describe to her the 30-foot long, 30-foot high in the air watchman who got shot and impaled on a tree.
Right, that was...
And how the watch is going missing, and we're suspecting the gnolls, and I'll brief her on the whole situation.
Yeah, hang on, I have something. Hang on a second. Brian, where'd all your notes go? Oh yeah, they're here. They're here in the book.
By the window where they normally are?
Yeah, actually.
Up on the wall?
From the window to the wall?
Something like that?
No.
Till the sweat drips down my...
Something.
Something or other.
I mean, you already went there. I mean, like...
Smalls.
Round circular bits.
Round.
Masculine love globes.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's the kind of quality entertainment that we here can promise you.
And it's still better than anything Microsoft's going to show you during their press conference.
Exactly.
Oh!
What are they going to show you that we can't show you here in greater, more disgusting detail?
Fact.
Give me 1 second. I actually have an answer.
This
to
is where I check the write-up after the game, and I'm like, holy shit, they announced what?
Like immortality? What?
They've announced immortality in a bottle.
Xbox games and Windows machines? Okay.
All right.
They did that like 2 years ago, and it's still not come true.
Yeah. No, the big one would be, we've decided to put aside our differences with Sony.
No. That'll be a cold day in hell.
I had this all written down somewhere, and it's really bothering me that I can't find it now. Okay. So she says it's a She said yes. This pack appears to be led by a Fang of Yingohu.
At which point I will switch back to common, because I don't know if my compatriots can speak Elven or not.
Thunuk does. Thunuk just waves.
And while I don't care about Thunuk, I may have started to develop some sort of friendship with Dren.
Aww.
Since I actually told her my name.
Yeah.
So
Oh, wait,
I switched
they
back.
You
don't
were
know,
about to be
right?
blown up, you
They
thought.
don't know that I've told you.
Yeah, they don't know yet.
No.
You're still Bruce Willis.
To them, I'm still Bruce Willis.
One word.
Yep.
With an apostrophe.
No hyphenation.
And several Y's.
Oh God, what is the music?
There's music.
I cannot hear music.
I don't hear music either.
I'm not casting spells right now.
Okay. I just randomly had music bits
I'm
start
concerned
playing
that
through
I
my
don't know if
headphones.
this was in character or if Clues is just actually hearing music
Why
and
not
no one
both?
else
That was
is.
both. That was
Both.
100% both.
Clearly.
She does randomly shout out words for, things. so-
Music!
Anyway, I switched back to Colin.
Music!
I'm like, look, both Elbalder and Pinedale are suffering because of the inability for people to move through the woods. Pinedale is suffering because it cannot get trade. Elbalder is suffering because its citizens are going missing as members of the Watch. We need to figure out what's going on here. Even the big guy that lives in the river in the wood is worried because his friends have gone missing.
And Tobin says, yes, we have been searching. But as my wife said, this pack is behaving bizarrely. They are using hit and run tactics. They're constantly moving. Most of the time, a pack will just move where there's meat, move where there's the most killing. They should have been on Pinedale by now, and we were prepared for that. But there's something wrong with this pack, and that's saying something. So,
I'm gonna go out on a limb here
mm-hmm.
and say this isn't normal null behavior, but it does sound a lot like other behaviors that other creatures that
Mm-hmm.
dwarves might be familiar with use.
It
Hit and run, not staying in one place for too long. That's standard goblinoid tactics.
yeah.
Sounds like hobgoblins to me, but I mean, I'm not there, so.
Well, but he says, what we can do though. Clearly, your group is has learned to some degree how to traverse the Chandlewood. So perhaps
I just point at Dren.
he nods in your direction, and he says, perhaps it would make sense for us to figure out a way to exchange intelligence when we come upon it.
I did have a plan for the Chandlewood, but I'm not sure it's going to work.
To be seen in another episode.
At a later time.
Once the DM has figured out how it's going to go down.
I have very literally consulted a lawyer about that. But anyways.
I mean, okay.
So long story short, I plan to documancy the forest into submission.
That will be interesting.
Hey,
Can't wait to see how this goes.
if there's anything that would require me leveling up as a documenter,
Suing an entire forest would surely be it.
He says, well, once our business is conducted, the Enclave has a system of drops that we use with those outside of the circle that we can share with you, so that way you will know where to find information that for us to exchange, and you will know if you have information you would like to exchange with us, how to communicate that.
perhaps, and I indicate Thunuk, perhaps he may be your best point of liaison.
What'd I do? What happened?
Not only can he feel a bit more home in nature's grasp, as it were, he may know how to find things that we don't.
And both Tobin and Illyana.
We lost clues.
Oh, chase! Hang on. I'm just gonna do this.
Yeah, just catch.
See, I made a promise that this is the kind of quality.
In all fairness, this isn't on you; it's on our internet.
No, but this is. Hang on, let me
This
do
is
that.
what was promised. This is what people are going to get.
This is
Customer
what
gets what they're promised.
We are on brand. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, we are on
I mean,
brand.
I don't know if you noticed the horrific face I was making, but like I had a burst of static through my headset like a couple of minutes ago that like actually hurt, and so I had to figure that out.
All right, so I've put a temporary fix in there. But anyways, both Tobin and Illyana both look to you, Thunuk, and they do like this salute of like fingers to lips, cover the heart, and then they like bow to you. And in Elvish, they say, "Greetings, tree brother."
Tree brother.
Thunuk's looking at himself. He's like,
And well, this is not an uncommon
"Oh, okay."
like nickname kind of epithet that they use. That the druids have used. Oh, here we go. Are we back?
Yep.
Does everything line up again? Everything lines up again! Yay!
Yay.
It's all split to hell.
So yeah, this is kind of like a standard like honorific that they use to refer to the Firbolg. When they do that, and they said, no, certainly we will convey that information. We will convey that information to you. Is there any, just if we may ask, what brings you to Pinedale?
Are they speaking still? To
More to all three of you. They're turning to all
Okay.
three of you. Yeah.
So I'm just going to say, I was sent by the Four. Oh, and Acquisitions Incorporated.
And Tobin, his like jaw hits the floor, and he says, "Oh my God! Do you know Jim Dark Magic?
What?
I
Annoyed.
love Jim Dark Magic."
You've been to
Blink.
gyms?
Blink.
No, not really.
You know that saying, don't ever meet your idols?
Who's Jim Dark Magic?
And, and his wife just looks and she just like shakes her head and is just like disgusted. Just
Brian, I think the stream.
Fanboy.
we think.
Oh,
The stream
stream froze.
Oh, and it might be frozen on a really funny Brian.
It is frozen.
Froze.
Very
Yeah,
funny.
it's froze.
Oh.
Super froze.
Weird.
Oh my God!
That's weird because everything looks like it's running fine here.
Stream is absolutely frozen for me. It's running at like 2 ticks a frame.
I'm restarting it to see.
Even when I refresh it.
Let me jump in here once again. This is the kind of
Audio is
technological
coming.
prowess we promised.
Are we locally recording?
No, I did not. Of course I didn't. Why would I bother to do that?
Whoops.
Oopsie. Yeah, it's really weird that it's doing that. Well, I'll start
But
recording
the
now.
audio's coming through?
I don't know. We'll find out. I should have hit start recording, but oh well. We'll figure it out. Well,
I do hear the audio coming through.
Yeah.
On my screen, clues just looked out.
So
Yeah, me too.
strange. Huh.
And the on-brand stuff, we just started talking about the on-brand stuff. So
Yeah,
Right.
it's completely out of sync. That's funny.
weird.
Oh well. Let us continue.
Okay.
Technical difficulties are happening. We shall be back up to normal shortly.
Hopefully. So at any rate, It's probably my wife probably just started streaming something downstairs, and that's probably why we saw that. But anyways, he just like his jaw hits the floor, and Lord, I am just discombobulated now. See, this is what happens, and you hear someone else. This deep baritone voice. You hear him say from the crowd, "Oh my God, I love Jim Dark Magic," and this hulking
Oh God.
dragonborn comes. This like bronze dragonborn comes lumbering through the crowd, dressed head to toe in like mage garb, in wizard's garb. And he says to Tobin, "Oh my God, have you ever seen him live?" And they start having like
Sorry.
this fanboy conversation as to, well, I saw him live in Waterdeep. Oh, I saw him when he came around to Baldur's Gate when he was touring with this other guy, and just they're having like this conversation about fanboying out, basically over.
Can I roll to see how annoyed my group is with these two?
Sure.
Perception 19. Wait, what's my perception? Where is my perception? 21. How annoyed is my group?
Your group can tell you how annoyed they are.
Group?
I'm more confused than anything else.
What's a Jim Dark Magic?
Pretty much.
You will notice Corbin is no longer there.
he ghosts.
He Batman's the fuck out. No, when you look around, he's over by the food truck picking up his food. Like he's talking to the orc.
Grimshot.
Frug, the gourmand orc.
I keep wanting to call him Groom Shroom. But
Well, that's the name of his. That's the name of his food cart. Groom Shroom's Toasty Treats, but he is Frug, the gourmand orc.
So he's over there just talking to Frug.
Yeah.
I cast Minor Illusion to make Jim Dark Magic walk through the crowd.
Oh no.
May I pause real quick?
Mm-hmm.
We're still borked.
Nothing we can do about it.
Yeah.
Ex-wifey?
It's a Twitch thing. It's got to be Twitch's fault.
It's not Twitch because the Microsoft press conference is running smoothly.
So, well, I'm running at 23.98 frames per second. My internet looks to be in the green.
Text wifey. Be like, stop streaming whatever it is.
Stop doing whatever you're doing while I'm doing this. Yeah, that's not going to
Yes,
happen.
you're working our stream.
That'll go very well.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
So well.
Anywho,
do the opposite.
So there's like this gasp in the crowd, but not gasp like terrified, gasp like, oh my God, because there's really like nobody. There are people that are from Pinedale, but most people at some point like have. So Pinedale's kind of like Nashville, Tennessee, and that there really isn't anyone who's from Nashville, Tennessee. They all just go there because they want to.
DC.
Yes.
DC.
Yeah. So no one's from DC. They just go there. Is anyone actually from Seattle, or do they just sort of go there because they want to work for Amazon or Microsoft or
Right.
I'm a transplant.
Yeah. So there's so in that way, there's a lot of people who would know who Jim Dark Magic is. So they're like kind of like following around. He's just this illusion just sort of walks around, and it's like the illusory doves flying out of the sleeves, and then he just sort of. How does the illusion work? Does it like last for a certain amount of time, or?
I think it's a concentration thing. Let me see. Let me double check.
So it blips out of existence immediately?
If anyone touches it, I know that it goes away for that. But let me check if there's.
I'm just wondering how long. I'm wondering how long.
Oh, it only lasts a minute.
Okay,
It
so
lasts a minute.
is it concentration?
I literally want him to walk through the crowd with like No, it's not a concentration, but
Oh, good, because I'd
Walks
be
through the
concerned that
crowd.
Drenmai would not be able to concentrate long enough to maintain it.
no, it's not a. I think I specifically took no concentration ones just for that.
So what do you
Any
have?
kind of physical interaction.
So he's
Like
walking.
if they go up to shake his hand
Yeah.
or something, it'll disappear.
So someone goes to do that, right? Because it's Jim Dark Magic, and they go to shake the hand and just
Yeah.
poof, and they all applause because they think that's like that was the trick. Was,
Yep.
was like him.
Is that he
disappearing.
disappears?
And then have
Yeah.
a magical day.
Uh,
So yeah.
Yeah.
So the two. So they the Dragonborn and and Tobin had like went and disappeared in the crowd because they saw it and like oh you know they go and disappear, and Ilderana is still there. And you notice
You do realize that the whole time that I was interacting with Tobin, I'm wearing my Acquisitions Incorporated like documents or bag and my symbol. Like he wouldn't have known we were members of Acquisitions Incorporated.
he might not be that perceptive.
Okay. Fair.
He's the impression you get from Tobin is kind of like, and now like the voice is now coming to head as to how he probably should talk. It's kind of like this like SoCal, kind of like one with nature guy. Like yeah, man, like
So nauseating and
Dude,
frustrating
like-
at the same time.
nah, like just real
Like
spiritual.
I really like kale.
Yeah,
Like,
man, like
there is to it.
I found
It's
like
just
3
super.
different ways to make kale shake, and oh my god, it's like totally cleansed, like my spiritual connection with nature.
I hate Tobin now.
I do too.
I hate
Now.
them. Just now.
So so it might be that he might be observant about certain things, but definitely not about like clothing. Like you could probably have been standing there naked as a jaybird, and he would not have noticed. It would have been like, yeah, cool, man.
While
with
they're
nature.
all distracted with this, I would like to sneak a very messy donut in front of Dren, like just sitting on the table.
Sugar.
It's probably like this
Coming.
big if it's normal size.
Yeah,
No.
That's a 24 on my stealth check.
Oh my god.
And then I'm just going to wander off and try and find Hugon.
I don't think I would even question it. Like a donut appears, I'm gonna go for it.
So you're not even gonna try to
Excitement.
resist it.
No,
Oh, so you mashed that thing.
no. Okay. Well, it's like this big, so it's like holding. I don't know,
It's
like one of
like
those
an-
giant burgers.
It's like an ear of corn, like.
Yeah.
Like turning it around, like just going around the outside edge, like turn, like a tire. You're just like,
Like
trying to
my
eat like a
kid
tire.
does. He'll eat the whole outside or the whole top with all the frosting.
But is this thing so big, like you as you get into like to the jelly donut part of it, you can almost like climb like inside it. Like you're just like face.
Well, yeah, I'm like
Shit,
I'm
Tasmanian
3'2", so it's like head size.
Donuts the size of your head.
Yeah. Yeah,
And that is
and I'm okay with it.
that is all the marketing you need for that
Yes.
pastry shop. So, da, 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 da. So Hugon, what have you done in the meantime?
Well, now that I have a meeting with this tiny pseudo urchin's parents, I'm probably going to go back to the Nymph and Harper because I'm kind of hurt and I'd like to relax for a minute.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, some of these people owe me drinks, so I guess they're coming too so that they can buy me drinks.
Okay. So you kind of got this little bit of entourage. You're talking shop about
Mhm.
ways to hit people with sticks.
Yes, and, maximum effect and those sorts of things.
So I'm trying to think, like, so in this kind of situation, right? This is where you've just met some people, you've bonded over something,
Mhm.
you're about to go get drinks, and they've probably, oh yeah, I remember when I served with the militia up in Neverwinter and this blah 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 blah. So there's going to be some stories. So I'm curious as to what kind of like war story would Hugon share in this situation that would be adjacent to hitting people with sticks?
Okay. He would probably talk about when he was in boot. Because a lot of these guys are not formal military. They're militia only. And so he probably remembers very keenly getting his ass kicked by a veteran, like with a padded quarterstaff, no less, more than likely. And basically going through like, yeah, this is the mistake that I made. I ducked when I should have dodged and got smoked in the face. Couldn't eat for like a couple of days because my jaw hurt so bad. That kind of thing.
But I could drink.
But I can drink. I could drink liquid food only, right? Yeah, one of those. I don't know if he'd continue that line though. I think he would talk about it for a couple of minutes and then get sad and stop talking about it.
Yeah, because it's like you have that good memory, right?
Like
He's wistful.
yeah, it kind of like a. I didn't expect to remember this in this manner, this far down the road, and yet here it is, clean as day. And like I can remember how the day felt, like, you know, what everybody was wearing, you know, the way the quarterstaff felt in my hands, how unfamiliar I was with it, that kind of thing. And just sort of being like, oh yeah, yeah, okay.
And then you kind of get like this the smile that only goes skin
like
deep, right?
the sort of 1,000-yard stare as I like reflect backwards.
And they seem to be fine. They're carrying on the conversation on their own. They're still walking with you and all that. So, and Corbin, you went out to go searching for the Hugon,
or just getting away from the Jim Dark Magic fanboys.
the fanboys.
And having to think about this whole El Boulder not necessarily having all the right information thing.
Okay.
And wondering how that is going to affect El Boulder. Because a lot of the anger that has been happening in El Boulder has been directed at non-humans because they thought that the druids were responsible.
Well, not so much. It's more like they thought the druids had cut them off from their trade. So whenever jobs go away, people look for someone. Yeah, and they look for someone to blame. So they're not. So yeah. So it's more like then they found the convenient.
And because druids are often thought of as elves,
that
transitioned into a general form of xenophobia.
Exactly.
So when they find out that it wasn't the druids, do you see what I'm saying?
For some, it won't matter.
But for others, they're going to ask a bunch of questions.
Yeah.
Like, and will that cause other problems with a certain lord?
So you're wandering around, lost in thought.
He's actually going to wander around the fair because he didn't do it earlier in the day. He's going to try and get like lost among the crowd and
just sort of take in the.
No, he's absolutely not looking at the fair. He's taking advantage that there's lots of people and he will not be able to be found among them.
Okay. I gotcha. Well, there is definitely plenty of people. There is definitely a buzz.
Also, him being him, he's keeping an eye out for pickpockets.
Because he know what he'd do.
No, he knows what he wouldn't do, which means someone else would.
Thunuk and Dren. As the two fanboys wandered off, Ilirana stuck around. And you notice that there's another person there dressed very similar to the way the Dragonborn was dressed. And just this human dressed as a mage, and he's just shaking his head, and he just goes,
It's just the Ren Subtilia crew, I'm guessing.
Yeah, probably. And they were, and the one is just like, my companion can be such an embarrassment. I'm amazed that someone of such learning and wisdom can sometimes be that stupid. And Ilorana glances up over at him, gives him like the once over, and then is like, yeah.
As she's saying all this, Dren looks up from the giant donut with like face smeared with frosting.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh. Embarrassing.
Um, and so Thunic, what were you up to?
Wow, we just ran into these people after the whole cooking thing, so I guess Thunuk has extra granite rings, and he's just like offering them to people. But of course, nobody knows Thunuk. Yeah, nobody knows Thunuk, and someone's like, gigantic person, here, eat. Nobody wants it.
Like you mashing something in a guy's face.
Face plant.
But he does offer one of the. He offers his last two ones that he's got to, or that haven't been set aside for anyone in the group.
Okay.
To these two people.
Okay, and they both kind of like give like a nod of thanks, and they both they both grab him, and Ilorana just mashes it, just like she's probably had these before. She's been to Pinedale before, so she just mashes this thing, and then you can see the mage, the wizard. He's like, he gives it a little sniff, and and like little nibble, and he's like sitting there, and he's like trying to look thoughtful as he's eating it. Like you can see he's like dissecting the ingredients. Like it almost looks like he's dissecting like the chemical makeup of it in his head. He's trying to break it down into its component parts.
He's a Yelp reviewer.
Yeah, he's just and he's going real slow, but he's like not bad. But then he notices that people are looking at him, and he gets all stern again, and so. Hugon, you go to the bar, and rounds are coming around. And what's going through your head as you're sitting there having these drinks with these people?
Probably that he is neither as fast nor as strong nor as hardy as he used to be. Like he was dealt a pretty righteous ass beating. He won, but at the same time, like his age is showing. Like he's sore, and he's like surprisingly tired. like that was actually quite unpleasant. I don't know if I should have done that. He's having like
I'm not 18 anymore.
He's like, yeah, that's exactly what's happening. He's like, I'm not a young man anymore. This may have been an error. I'm going to feel this pretty badly in the morning.
Now, mind you, this wasn't like real damage. Like you weren't taking like full-on bludgeoning damage.
No, but like even so, like he's like, man, damn
little
it.
Sore. So you get a drink in you, and then it's like maybe you start feeling a little bit better, and it's like okay, not so bad. And as you're sitting there, you feel a tug on your pant leg.
I'll set the cup down like heavily, like thump.
And there is Tadell Swift looking up at you, beaming, big blue eyes, big toothy smile, but it's got like that kid like gap in the middle, right? Where it's like it's like from the baby teeth having to quite come, grow, everything's not quite grown in together correctly yet. And with her are her parents that you recognize again from that strange experience at the cabin. The mother, who you remember from the vision, was named Linan.
Mm-hmm.
and the father, who is named Cuth. And
Now, I don't think you ever gave us their surname.
I honestly cannot remember. I remember hearing the Swift family name and that they knew me.
yeah, and she introduced you when in today's episode when she introduced herself as Tadell Swift.
Mm-hmm.
So these two people, and when you look at them, it's obvious that she is their daughter.
Cuth is Cuth,
Cuth, correct?
short for Cuthbert.
It might be a family name. But you remember them. That's how he was referred to during this vision. So they're with her. And again, if you could take the two of them and mesh them together genetically, this is what they're doing. I mean, there's like no doubt that is her mother and that is her father. If you were to stand like in front of one, you see, oh, those traits match up, and then you go here, and oh, all those traits match up.
Right.
With the exception that they are not nearly as dirty as she's, just with the dust from playing outside, and Cuss reaches out his hand to introduce himself, and he says, "Hi, my name is Cuth. This is my daughter. I'm sorry if she was bothering you. She insisted on dragging us over here. She said that we were supposed to meet you here."
I'm going to be honest with you. I didn't believe she had the attention span to actually do it. But here we are. And I'll shake the man's hand and
she goes, "He's the one that said he would teach me."
Shh.
Under the bus.
I didn't say that. I said we would discuss it.
And she's like, "Oh no, please, you have to teach me. You have to. I want to learn what you do. I want to learn what you had to do." So it was so cool because mom, you don't understand, because he like knocked the one guy over, he completely knocked him off, and then he hit the other guy in the leg, and then knocked him over, and then he fought Tusk, and then he like Tusk hit him and beat him up bad, but then he beat up Tusk really bad too, because then he hit him in the face and knocked Tusk over, and it was amazing. It was awesome. And it was so cool.
Am I in the room?
Sure, you could have followed him in, yeah.
I'm
Teleport.
I think the answer is whenever it's like is clues in the
ACO Dren.
Huh?
ACO Dren.
Yeah. It's like whenever it's like Jen is like whenever you're in the room, it's like, well, yeah. It's just, why wouldn't she be there? Because she just would have wandered in and just been standing in the corner the whole time that no one saw. Yeah.
I just kind of want to tap Hugon on the leg and just hold up a stein that has a
another short thing.
Yes. I hand it up.
Because Drenmai, you know the Swifts.
I know them.
Yeah, you know them. They live down the street from the shop. Their son and daughter and playing in your shop all the time.
Yeah.
Getting into all sorts of shenanigans and trouble that sometimes you're encouraging.
Mm-hmm. I know Tadell can be a bit much, so
because how else will they learn?
Exactly.
So what are you doing? So you're tugging on Hugon's
I'm
leg?
handing him a drink. I just tap him, drink.
Wait, is this a Dren-sized drink or is it a Hugon-sized drink?
No, it's a him size, so it's like taking me a bit of my non-existent strength to hold it up.
All right, well,
Yeah.
he'll grab it and like weather that tirade of child babble, and like kind of like give the parents like a knowing, like I've been here before kind of look.
And Linan is
Wait, has he?
He is an old soldier. He has seen many things.
You make a lot of orphans as a soldier.
Dark.
Okay.
No lie.
No.
Phrasing.
Kidding.
But anywho, Linan, just like, I'm sorry. She's been talking about you nonstop since she like sprinted to come find us, and has just been talking about you nonstop since watching you fight in the games, and just begging us to come speak to you. Said that you would be able to. She wants to learn how She wants to learn how to fight. And her father and I are of mixed opinions on this.
Mixed opinions, how?
And Linan says, I would like my children to know how to fight. But learning from me would probably not be the best option.
Okay.
But Cuth has other feelings about that, and Cuth says, my children shouldn't have to fight.
Trying to think of how to say this diplomatically.
Bullshit. No.
I don't think Hugon would be diplomatic.
I don't think he would either. That's where I'm also struggling. Where on the sliding scale do I fall? I'm gonna probably have to think about that for just a second. Well, due respect, Cuth. The world has a tendency to not care about what we should and shouldn't have to do. The world does not have a tendency to care about afflicting people who don't know how to fight or do know how to fight. You flip a coin, you're just as likely to get killed by a rock or a falling tree branch or anything like that as you are about ravening gnolls or orcs coming down out of the hills or giants deciding that they'd like to eat the village.
And Tadella's going.
And
She's like nodding her head. She's like,
she may as well be furniture at the moment. She doesn't exist. This, particularly living in a place like the Chandlewood, I've been here for a couple of weeks, maybe a week, maybe a little bit more than a week. This is a dangerous goddamn forest, and there's nothing to suggest that not knowing how to fight is going to serve her any better. Like, you may as well hedge your bets. Are you concerned that what is your concern? Why do you believe they shouldn't have to fight? Do you believe it because there should be other people that exist to fight on her behalf?
And he says, in a perfect world, no one should have to send their children off to fight.
Okay.
In an imperfect world, and I know it's absolutely selfish of me to say so, but I don't want my...
All right, so at this point we had some weird technological leprosy issues with OBS, where for whatever reason it just stopped recording everything. No video, no audio. I really have no explanation for it other than this seems to be the baseline for my ability to run anything on Twitch. So what I'm going to do right now is give you a quick summary of what happened in the last minute of the podcast and of the stream prior to us going into the break. When you get to part 2, you can obviously pick up all the parts that you, for everything else went fine after that. So the father goes on to say that he just does not want his kids to fight. Hugon is able to make a persuasive argument, however, and he succeeds on his persuasion check and convinces the parents that this might be a good idea. They ask if he would actually train their daughter, and he says he will think about it, and she sprints off being all happy that she's probably going to learn how to fight with sticks. We then go out to Corbin, who is wandering around the town square, lost in thought, trying to digest all the information that he had just received from the Emerald Enclave. And on a successful perception check, he determines that the ground is vibrating in a strange way. And we then go to break, and you'll have to wait to part 2 to find out what all of that means. So thank you for your patience. Tune in for the second part, which will be going up on the interwebs very, very soon. And for the folks that tuned in for the first half, thank you very much for your time, for your patronage. So tune in for the live games now every single week at 4 p.m. Eastern. We will be running some form of a live game starting 2 weeks from tonight. And you can always catch us on the YouTube, and you can catch us on the VOD, and more and more podcast locations are being added every week. So thank you all for tuning in, and we'll see you in part 2.